Questions form the basis of any research and are definitely a part of my life. So I have a question for all of you. Imagine you're walking down a street and somebody tries to pickpocket you. Would you remain silent, shy away, feel ashamed? Or would you howl and cry and call out for help? Anybody in the audience who would actually remain quiet? Anybody? Just like you all. I had a similar response. No, why should I stay silent? And it all feels like yesterday when I was given a similar situation in my life, to choose between embracing silence or to roar. It was at the New Delhi railway station when my father had come to see me off. I was going back to school, and I had to board the late-night train to Chennai. As an emotional daughter, I was standing by the gate, trying to bid my father farewell. It was pretty emotional. So, then a man walked into the train, squeezed my breast, and disappeared in the crowded coach. The pain caused tears to trickle down my eyes, and sometimes even today. That day, the train did leave the station, but it left me behind, frozen for the next 36 hours. I was going back to school, and I did not do anything wrong. And I promise I wasn't dressed provocatively. Or the other day, when my mentor forced his body onto mine at 2 a.m. when I was working for a research deadline. I was chasing a research paper, and I was working really hard. In order to resist him, I dig my nails into his skin and made him bleed and run back home, startled. Not because I was weak, but because that day my trust in the society was jolted. As I really did not know what to do, I asked myself the same question I asked you all today in the beginning of the talk. Should I embrace silence, or should I roar? But after being pre-victimized for years together at university, I knew that was all going to fall onto me. It was me who did not abide by the curfew law of 6:30 p.m. I was there working in my lab at 2 a.m., and it is all my fault. I am the characterless. I am going to be blamed. I succumbed with the same fear which most victims of sexual abuse do. And do you know? In India, this is the reason why we only report 1/6 of the cases of sexual assault. And do you know what it all leads to? Trends show that public molesters, which go around squeezing body parts of women in public transits, commit 9 serious sexual offenses. Yes, you heard it right. 9 serious sexual offenses before they actually get convicted. This is the cost of our silence. And I'm sure many of us have been burnt because of it, haven't we? So I decided not to embrace the silence, instead look for ways to break the silence. As a graduate student at MIT, I started looking for technologies which could help detect, communicate, actually document this, and prevent it in real time. We were on the look for a technology which could act even when the victim is frozen due to fear. A technology which could shout even when this victim was silenced by the society. A technology which would record the cries of the victim even when we choose to ignore it. We designed Intrepid, a wearable sticker which could go on top of any kind of garment, detect initials of assault. And once it detects that, it tries to understand if you are the one who's removing the clothing versus if somebody else is trying to remove the clothing. And as it does so, we try to address the situation even when the victim is unconscious, is unable to fight against the assaulter due to emotional, physical, or hierarchical domination. Even in situations of child sexual abuse, when the child doesn't even know what the world is all about. As Intrepid detects these signs of assault, it starts buzzing a loud, deafening alarm and also oozes odorous compounds, which act as deterrent in real time. The device sends information about the victim's location to 5 people who are predefined as the safety circle. It also calls one of the most trusted members and ensures that everything is recorded as an audio, so that whenever the victim really wants to go back and file a complaint, they can do so. Another very important feature of the device is the self-actuation button. It allows the victim to call for help whenever they can anticipate an approaching threat. As we go around encouraging, empowering, and giving voices to the silent Me Too's, I'm very hopeful that tomorrow we will build a safer world. And in the next 5 years, you and I will live in it, where devices like Intrepid would not be required. As a victim of assault in both academic and physical spaces, I do understand what it takes to speak up. I do understand why we bottle it up for years together. But I do understand the significance and importance of having these evidences. I do understand how empowering is it to tell the world that I wasn't asking for it. How important is your voice? Because when you speak up against the crime or the criminal, you just not protect yourself, but you also protect your community, your society, your country, and the world together. And that is the power of your voice. And it truly matters. In fact, every voice against sexual abuse matters. Thank you.